is by far the scariest challenge I have ever taken part in, and even as I'm recording this video, I am beginning to regret it. But I am definitely going to do this. I have quite a few books that have been on my shelf for quite some time, and it's actually getting ridiculous. So if I do not read them by the end of this year, I have no choice but to unhaul them. Let's get into it. Hi everyone, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Shelly. I love reading, and I read quite a wide range of books in terms of genre and authors. And quite frankly, I have been taking it slow this year, not reading as much, but that's because I read 100 books last year. But as you see this beautiful library behind me, I have not read a lot of these books. And while that's fine because that's everyone, some of these books have been here for quite some time, which means they need to go. Especially because I'm running out of room for so many books. Like my books are like just hanging on like the edges at this point because I have nowhere to put them. And so there are a few books that I'm actually hyped for and I want to read them, but I keep psyching myself out, or there are just different reasons why I haven't touched them. And so I am challenging myself because I've seen a few booktubers doing this. If I do not read these books, or at least pick them up and make it halfway, by the end of the year, I have to unhaul them. Now, this is going to be really, really hard for me because I don't unhaul books ever. I have a slight OCD hoarding issue when it comes to like my things. I don't get rid of things like unnecessarily. And because books are like my babies, I just can't get rid of them. Yeah, it's hard for me. I can't do it. So it's going to be a really, really, really hard challenge for me, but it also will help me to finally get into these books that have been here for ages. So let's get through the books which I need to read. First and foremost, now these two books are by the same author, and they are top of my list because I have been dying to read more books by this author, and I keep putting it off because of this author's reputation. That is The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. And oh my goodness, I can't believe I'm doing this. Babel by R.F. Kuang. And yes, this is a special edition, so I definitely have to read this. So basically, I have had like a very interesting relationship with R.F. Kuang. The minute I first started getting into books, I heard about, The Poppy War. I've heard about R.F. Kuang, especially when I started getting into fantasy books. But every time someone mentions this book, it's like they're traumatized. And I heard that R.F. Kuang is not afraid to really just decimate a world or destroy a character inside and out. And I've gone through so much character trauma, and I am afraid. Genuinely, that is why I've not picked it up. I am afraid. But I'm also desperate to really just share in the joy that everyone has, or like just the enjoyment that they've had when they've read this book. I do wanna like have fun, But I'm just really scared. But this year, I am going to read it because if I don't read it, I have to unhaul it. Now, the danger with this challenge is obviously you can unhaul it and then later on buy it. But no, we're going to be really, really serious. If I unhaul it this year, I can't buy it next year. I have to spend, at least a year without touching it. And that's the dangerous part of it. But, motivation. Now, this is where it gets dangerous. The only copy of Babel I have is a special edition copy. And it is by like this beautiful, like, look at this. Look at the end covers and everything. Like, you can hear the crisp. That's like literally because I've not opened this book. But I have multiple reasons for not wanting to touch this book. One, because of R.F. Kuang's history and, her reputation for hurting her characters. And two, because this book, Babel, apparently has a Haitian character in it. I am full-blooded Haitian. And I am very proud of my culture and heritage, and I'm very, very protective of it as well. Because obviously, like, so many negative things are said about Haiti, but Haiti really is a beautiful country, and so I'm very protective of my country and my culture. And I'm very protective of Haitian Creole. I think the language is just amazing. I think it's so fun, so expressive, so passionate. And I don't want it to be butchered in literature. I respect that R.F. Kuang, being, a BIPOC author, that she'll respect, another culture and would have done her research. But yeah, that's another reason outside of like her reputation that I have avoided picking up Babel, just because I'm kind of scared to see like what the Haitian character's role will be. I'm like, I don't want any misrepresentation or any bad representation, you know, that are based off of bad stereotypes that Haiti and Haitians have. So I'm curious but also afraid. But yeah, because of this challenge, that means I'm definitely gonna pick it up. But I'm excited because obviously I've heard so many amazing things about this book, and I've really been excited to touch it because yeah, I am a nerd. I do love learning, and so even the premise of the book is like, oh, everything to me. So yeah, this year, if I don't read these two, I must unhaul them, and that is terrifying to me. But we need to do it. The next book is a book that was top of my list when I first started getting into books. As I told you or have told you on this channel several times, I was a late bloomer when it came to reading. I've always been a nerd, so comics, anime, manga, I was definitely always into. But then reading, like, you know, actual just novels, I was really never into. I did get into it a bit when I was younger, but I guess I wasn't encouraged as much as I should have been. And then when I got older, I was just like, you know what? People have fun reading. Let me try it. And then fell deeply, deeply in love. And here we are now. Yeah, here we are now. Imagine that. But when I first started getting into reading, I was reading things like The Hunger Games. That was one of the first books that I read. I read it in high school. I'm just like, that's one of the first books that showed me that reading can be really, really fun, and really, really adventurous, and like honestly, just so relatable. Obviously it didn't really like light my fire. I just read the entire trilogy and loved it, but took a pause again. And then as I got older and in uni, when I really, really started to read, I started reading a lot of YA dystopian. So I was, you know, the selection, like I read that, I read Red Queen, and I'm just like, okay, YA dystopian. I was loving all of them. And so I was just looking on the internet of all the different books in that genre, and I had a list of them in like my little mini leather book. I'm just like, I have to buy all of these books and have to read all of them. I was a broke student, so let's be real, a lot of them weren't bought. But then obviously now that I'm working and I'm no longer a student and I have money, I'm buying all the books that I said I was going to read. And though my tastes have shifted a bit where I read more fantasy and I'm now getting more into thrillers, I actually still do love YA dystopian and just dystopian in general. So I started looking for the dystopian books that I once fell in love with. And I'm just like, yeah, let me actually go and read them. Unless the premise is, you know, unappealing to me. But one of the main books that were on my list from years ago is The Young Elites by Mary Lou. And what's so insane about this is that I had so many books by Mary Lou on my list of books to read. Like, all of her books were the books I was saying, I'm going to read, I'm going to read, I'm going to read. Like Warcross, I had all of them there. I said, I'm going to be reading all of it. And so I bought the box set of this series and never touched it. I then never touched it. I think I bought the box set like 2 years ago or something like that. It's really just been chilling in my like soon to be library because I don't have 1,000 books yet. And I'm just like, no, I want to read this, you know? So if I don't read this, and not just this book, the entire trilogy, because technically it came in a box set, I'm going to unhaul. If I don't read at least like one, or should I challenge myself and yeah, if I don't read the entire trilogy, I have to unhaul the entire trilogy. I'm already regretting saying that, but here we are. But yeah, so I'm going to commit myself to reading this trilogy this year, or unhauling the trilogy, which will be a shame because I've heard people who, you know, I respect their opinions when it comes to books, and they've given me good recommendations before. And, you know, I've heard them say that Mary Lou was like, you know, one of their like top authors when they were growing up and still is. So I want to experience that. So yeah, Mary Lou, I'm coming for you soon. Please, guys, pray for me because I cannot unhaul books. It will really hurt me, and I feel like that will put me on like a semi-permanent like book slump. Don't let it happen. So please, please, in every other video that comes after this video, just put it in your comments. Are you reading your unhauled video books? just something to get me going, because it'll really scare me into like action beyond scared straight. If you know, you know. Now the next book is a book I kind of like found on a whim randomly when I was just like, when I was getting into books in the pandemic and like just hunting to see what fun books I can get into. I saw this book and the title itself sounded really, really interesting. So I got it, I pre-ordered it, and it came through. And that is The Other Black Girl by Zakiya Dalila Harris. Now, this is a very interesting thing because I'm not sure if I want to read this book, which is why it's up for debate right now. And so if I don't read this book, it's just going to have to be unhauled, and I'm not too sure I'll feel upset about it. Reason being, I was really excited when I pre-ordered it, and when it arrived, I was reading. That's when I started to get into fantasy, so it really wasn't top of my list. Fantasy thrillers, I started getting into them, and so this wasn't really top of my list because it's basically like contemporary fiction and a bit of thriller, yeah. And after it got released, I was seeing reviews that did not encourage me. Quite a lot of people were saying that this book was not it. They were saying it was kind of tone deaf and it was like kind of like poor writing. But then it got picked up for a TV show. And the TV show looks interesting. And also now being like, a corporate girly myself in tech, it's a very weird situation there. I'm like, okay, maybe I really should read it. Maybe it will like be fun. Like everyone's opinions are not the same. So someone might hate it, or a lot of people might hate it, and I might like it. That happens quite a lot. You'd be surprised. And so I do want to give it a chance. I want to give it a chance. So I'm putting it on like my read or unhaul list simply because it will put it on a priority list for me to actually try and pick it up. At least try and pick it up. Because who knows? It might actually be really great. And also, I don't like watching shows that are based on books without having read the book. Because we all know that the show is not going to do what it's meant to do compared to the book. So I always want to have some type of source material if I know it's based on something. So it just means that if I don't read this book, I'll never be able to actually watch the show. Or I'll watch it and I'll feel unfulfilled. So hopefully I can read this before I have to unhaul it. So yeah, another one for the books. Funny. Now the next book. I'm kind of shy to say because I'm just like, please don't judge me. But at the same time, this book needs to be read. And if that means I have to be judged for it to be read, then so be it. Ray Bearer by Jordan Ifueko. So, yes, I know I have even recommended this book when I've been giving my recommendations on books based on West African mythology. I've done that on TikTok. With this one, I had put it on the list. And I'm just like, I put it on the list based on other people's recommendations, people whose recommendations I trust. And I, of course, have bought it. And every single time I say I'm going to read it, I don't know why I don't pick it up. It's just something weird where I'm like, oh, I'm scared. And it's so weird because this is a completed duology, so I have no reason to be scared because I don't have to wait. Like, the story is finished, and the story sounds absolutely amazing. I remember what really even drew me in was the amazing cover. Like, this cover is stunning. Like, it's just, and the actual story, when I read the plot, sounds absolutely amazing. It sounds like it's quite detailed, and it sounds like a bit of me. Like, not even a bit of me, it's definitely a lot of me. So I don't know why I've not picked it up, and so I am putting this on my list to be read or on a haul because anything on this list is something that I want to take, I want to take seriously. I want to make a priority. And so because I am desperate to read this, I need something to motivate me, and that is going to be that. I don't have the second book, so if I don't read it, I don't have to fear, unhauling 2 books. I only have to fear unhauling 1 book, which is still sad. But if anything, I can always, go to a library, but we don't want that. We want to have the book, read the book, and then move on to the second book. That's what we want to do, okay? So, yeah, this one, I must read it. Like, it seems like it's one of those worlds that's really, really detailed and has like quite a lot of different characters of the world, and the world building sounds absolutely like amazing and planned out, and I just love that. I hear that there's like a lot of diversity in this book, and I'm just like, oh my goodness, it sounds like a dream come true. And so Ray Bearer and the second book, I'm coming for you. I'm coming for you this year. There's no question about it. Now, the next book. I don't know how I feel. And that is The Cousins by Karen McManus. There was a point in time where I would call myself Karen McManus' biggest fan. That is not a question. Like, when one of us is lying, when it was blowing up on Bookstagram, and during the pandemic, one of my friends got it for my graduation present, and I read it and I fell in love. And so I got the second book, and then I got To Can Keep a Secret, and I loved those 3 books so much. And so at that point, I started following Karen McManus, and so every time she had a book that was releasing, I'm just like, I'm on it. But in the pandemic, I was actually doing my master's and I was working full time. So it was a very, very chaotic time for me. I was doing my master's full time, working full time. I basically had no time to breathe. And so my reading started to fall off. And in that moment is where like The Cousin came out. I remember when this came out. This came out in the December of like, the pandemic when I was doing my master's, and I had so much coursework and I just couldn't focus on a lot of my books. And so yeah, this one suffered. So it came out and I started reading it and it was good. It was a good start. I got like I believe 2 chapters in, and then I just had to focus on my work, and so I just fell off. But I kept pre-ordering all of Karen McManus's books and I just kept not reading them. And I even met Karen McManus at an event that they had in Liverpool, in Waterstones, and I'm just like, oh, she's so sweet. And I brought the books that I read for her to sign. But I'm just like, I could have brought the entire set because I have it, but I haven't read the entire set. So, didn't want to really be fake about like what I've read from you. But like, I'm like, I have all of your books, and it's to the point where I own more than I've read, and I don't like that. If I had like, hadn't read one or two, and I own like six, then that's fair. But I own like, 6, 7, and I've read 3. Like, it's not balancing out. So because this was kind of like the last book that I, even started and, gave a chance, I have to read this book or unhaul it. Like, I feel like, I don't know what it was. Maybe this was the one that started a curse. I don't know. But this book has to be read or unhauled. And if this gets unhauled, I won't even lie, I'm considering unhauling all the other Karen McManus's books that I have not read. I don't want to do it, but I'm going to have to. So this book at least needs to be read by the end of this year. There's no negotiation. There's no question. It's either you get read or you get unhauled. And that's scaring me because, like I said, at one point, I was her biggest fan. I was like, wow, queen of the YA thrillers. Now I'm just like, yeah, I kind of fell off and I never jumped back on. It's not that her writing is bad. It's just that I started reading other books and, kind of forgot about her. And so I kind of want to get back because, like I said, I really did enjoy the books of her that I did read. So, and I've been really, really enjoying YA thrillers. So there's no reason why I shouldn't enjoy these. So yeah, I am definitely going to read or unhaul this. And I don't want to, because one thing I love about Karen McManus's books is that they all come just automatically sprayed edge. Like, this is just like, it's kind of like a trademark for her now, that all of her books just come with a sprayed edge. And I love that for her, and I love that for me, because I love a nice sprayed edge. So yeah, I don't want to unhaul it. So let's pray for me, guys. Let's pray for me. Now, the last book is an interesting one. So this is Glint by Raven Kennedy. I believe this is the second book in the Plated Prisoner series. Now, if you've been with me for a while, or if you've like gone touring around my channel, then you know that I have read Guild, the very first book in the series. And I read it and I gave it like, mid-review. It was like a 3 for me, guys. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't like the best. I had quite a lot of thoughts on it, so you guys could go and check the review. I had a lot of things to say about it. But yeah, it was an okay book, but I expected more because of how much Book Talk kind of hyped the series. But because it was the first book, I said, okay, that's just the first book, more can come. But the only thing is, when I had ordered Guild, I was expecting my mind to be blown. So I ordered like the entire set from Waterstones, like the special editions, all of them. I did miss one of them because I didn't collect it in time, so kind of lost out on that one. That's my fault, but oh well. But yeah, so I pre-ordered like all the books that were out at the time, and I believe that was 4 of them, and they weren't cheap, okay? They were like 21 pounds. And I read the first book and I was disappointed, and so I wasn't like too interested in continuing the series. I knew I was going to continue eventually, but I'm like, it wasn't a priority. I had so many other books that were like, top of the food chain when it came to like what I want to read next. Like, I'm just like, there are other books that are better that I can read, and I don't want to get disappointed again. So I just really put in the back burner. But I'm like, I spent 21 pounds on you guys, and your first one was a bit lackluster. I expect the rest of the series to bang. And I kind of do have hope for it, because at the end of the first book, I said this in my video, at the end of the first book, it actually started to pick up a bit of pace, and the character started to like not annoy me as much. So I had hope. But like I said, I had other books that gave me more hope. And so I went and I read them instead. but like they've been chilling on my shelf for about 2 years now. And I'm like, you're pretty, and that's amazing. But there are other pretty books as well that can be taking up space. So, minimum, Glint needs to be read this year, or it's gonna be on hold. And like I said, I spent £21 for it. So as much as I would love to donate it, I'm so sorry. No, I'm selling it. I'm selling it, and I'm getting my money back. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. It can't. I'm so sorry. £21, and I haven't read it. No, 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 no. Which means this is a freshly bought book. Like, it hasn't been touched. The pages haven't been flipped. Like, it's not dirty. This is a new book. I am selling it. Okay. So if I don't read it, it's getting sold. So, if anything, check back at the end of the year to see if I've read all the books that I'm meant to unhaul. Because when I'm unhauling them, there are going to be some giveaways if I don't read them. Because I am reading all of these, I am by fire, by force, I'm reading all of them. But if I don't, there might be some giveaways. This one I'm definitely going to sell. But the others I might just give away. So yeah, let's see what happens. But yeah, this is the very, very last book that I am challenging myself to read or unhaul. Yeah, I don't know how I feel. I don't know if I'll feel sad if I unhaul this truly. Because like I said, first book wasn't all that. And if anything happens, borrow at a library. But yeah, guys, those are the books that if I don't read, I have to unhaul. This is definitely like the scariest thing I've ever challenged myself to do when it comes to my books. Like, there are books here which I can admit to not caring about 100%. 100%. And the reason I didn't introduce them to this unhaul is because this specific list of books that I want to unhaul are books that I actually have hope for, that I actually want to read and want to continue in the series. And so I want to motivate myself to read them with the threat of unhauling. The other books, I really could not care less about saving them. So genuinely, if there was a fire while I'm stressing out and trying to save the books that I love, certain books I would really just use as a sacrifice to kind of buy me some time. Okay, I'm not going to tell you what books they are, but yeah, certain books I have here don't really care for, and I haven't read them either. But because I bought them, right, and I have probably a slight unhealthy attachment to my books, I don't want to unhaul them. But this year, because I am trying to be more responsible, have a healthier relationship with my books, I am going to start unhauling a few things, maybe one at a time. I'm going to donate them because someone's going to want them somewhere, right? It's not that the books are bad, I'm sure. I'm not interested anymore because, like I said, my taste has changed, and a lot of these books were bought years ago when I had different tastes. And it's kind of these tastes are the tastes that I'm not even going to consider giving a chance type of taste, So yeah, these books are the ones that, are top priority because I really do want to read them and fall in love with them. And so yeah, it's gonna be scary, but you know what, you gotta do a few scary things every now and then because life isn't fun with a bit of without a bit of challenges. So yeah, we are here and we have some fun. Yeah, I had a blood test, so ignore that. We are here, we're gonna have some fun reading. I cannot actually wait to tell you guys, hey guys, I read one of the books I'm meant to be unhauling, so I get to keep them. Yeah, pray especially for Babel. I cannot imagine having to give that beautiful copy up. I am so sorry. Everything else, fair game just a bit. But yeah, pray for Babel. But yeah, I can't wait to tell you guys how this goes, how, what happens, and, even give you the reviews of when I finally read these books. But yeah, guys, that is it for now. Until next time. And, if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe so you actually do get to know what happens to these books and may even win in a giveaway if I have to give them up. And if anything, yeah, just so that you can see all the fun and probably tears that will be had during all of this type of chaos. Yeah, so until next time, be sure to comment, share, and like I said, subscribe if you haven't already. Bye.